All right, we got a good crowd. Thank you all for attending Telehealth Unlocked webinar. And Mariana Knight will be presenting. If you have any questions, there's a Q&A box. At any time, you could type in there. No one will see your question, and I will read it aloud, and Mariana will answer it. So with that, Mariana, introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. My name is Mariana, and I'm the director of the telehealth department here at Northeast Family Services. I'm really excited all of you could be here. So as Gary mentioned, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. Gary will go ahead and stop me so that I can answer your questions. So a little bit of information about me. So I am, like I said, the director of the telehealth department, but I am also trained in a few different modalities. So I like to really emphasize the things that I pride myself on, because those are also some of the things that I work very closely with our clinicians on as well. So they're providing appropriate levels of care. So I am trained in trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy, EMDR, trauma-focused hypnotherapy, and alternative families cognitive behavioral therapy. So those are designed, so trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy is designed to work with kiddos who've experienced some big T or intense traumas. And alternative families is designed for working with kiddos that have some maybe have been removed from their home and we're working towards reunification. So these are typically the lens that I see things through and provide supervision to my staff through those lenses as well. So telehealth has become an up and coming, I would say since COVID, when we were all kind of thrown into the whirlwind of, oh, you need to go grocery shopping, do it online. Everything has been virtual for about the last 5 years. So I wanted to just go over a little bit about what telehealth will look like at NFS. So therapy will be provided in your home, which is, or in any sort of confidential setting. So if there is a location that works best for you, as long as it is private, we are able to provide services for you remotely. We are real therapists with real credentials, real degrees, who are able to take most insurances. We do meet with a secure video software so that it is a HIPAA compliant, meaning the session is completely confidential. And we also work to provide evidence-based treatment, which were some of those modalities I was just explaining to you about: trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy, AFCBT. Those are evidence-based treatment, which is our preference, because we want to make sure that the services we're providing to your family are services that we know work. What makes telehealth really, I think my favorite is how accessible it is to everybody. As long as you have a phone that has a front-facing camera where we can physically see you, or a computer that has a front-facing camera, you are able to receive services. Receiving care at home, I think, is something that allows for comfort and additional privacy. But my absolute favorite is saving time on transportation. I'm a mom of two small kiddos and trying to get to practice, to school, to trombone lessons, right? There's so many things going on. So having the ability to not drive somewhere and still have them get quality services, I think is a really awesome benefit to receiving telehealth. All of our clinicians do offer flexible scheduling. We do recognize that because we work with so many kiddos and families and working adults, that many people are looking for those after school or after work appointment times. So we do have flexible scheduling, whether you're looking for evening appointments or weekends. And as I mentioned, we are covered by most insurances. We do accept most commercial insurances and most Mass Health Medicaid brands. Telehealth has been proven to be effective in managing chronic conditions and mental health services in routine care. So something that I like to point out is, I think sometimes there's some hesitance from families, or sometimes there's some concern that maybe telehealth isn't the same, or it's not as good as going in person. But it has proven to be effective in managing several mental health conditions. And also our clinicians are trained to where if we're working with a kiddo or a family or an adult where they're coming in doing telehealth, they are trained to keep an eye on making sure that telehealth is a good fit. So if something were to ever come up and they thought that there was that telehealth might not be a good fit, they would provide you with an additional referral. And again, so most of the insurances are accepted. We are in network with most commercial brands and most Medicaid brands as well. So questions we get asked a lot are what should I expect in treatment? Like, what's that going to look like for me? What does that look like for my kiddo? What does this look like for my family? So at NFS, we work really hard to ensure that the goals and the treatment plan that we're working on with you and your kiddo are treatment plan goals that are very specific to their needs. We are very passionate about not providing cookie cutter treatment plans and making sure that they're individualized to meet your child's need as well as your family's need. Sessions are held at a frequency that works for you. So we typically like to start sessions off on a weekly basis because research does support that starting off on a weekly basis kind of highly correlates with a successful graduation. However, if you were to start and say, listen, we might need to start with some biweekly sessions because, I have a kiddo that's involved in X, Y, and Z. There is the capacity if we needed to potentially look at a biweekly schedule if that works best for you and your family. Sessions average about 53 minutes once a week. So it is important, I think, that families are aware of kind of what the time commitment of therapy looks like. It is about a 53-minute to 60-minute once a week with the counselor and your kiddo. Now, something that I really pride myself on, and the department really, is that our standard at NFS is that we highly encourage weekly parent sessions to make sure that we are including family involvement, right? It's really hard when you're working with a kiddo who's, 6 or 7 years old, and then you never hear from the clinician, right? So we work really hard to make sure that we are providing parents with the option to participate in weekly sessions where you get the opportunity to meet with your child's clinician on a one-on-one basis once a week for up to an hour, where you can also be discussing what your child needs, what progress they're making, what you hope if you're noticing any digression, any progress, that'll be the time for you to be able to really sit down with your child's counselor and get an understanding of what they're working on and how you can be a better support to facilitate that at home. So another service that we provide that is included in the therapeutic process is collaborative consultations with other providers, right? So in addition to us meeting with the caregiver once a week, we also do complete case consultations. So what that might look like is you come into a session and you're telling your counselor, my kiddo's having a really hard time in school. His teacher's constantly sending him home. He's getting referrals all the time. With the appropriate release of information, our counselors will actually reach out to your kiddo's teacher and can have a conversation to discuss what care they might need and to be a better support to them in all the aspects of their life. That might also look like them reaching out to their medical doctors, if they have a social worker, to really make sure that the child is getting the appropriate level of wraparound care and not just seeing their clinician for 50 minutes and then not following up with the other parts of the team that are really influencing a child's ability to successfully graduate from therapy. Now our therapeutic goals, like I said, those are always going to be specific, and we're always going to be focused on promoting your child's mental and emotional well-being. And we very much incorporate client-centered care, making sure that the goals that you want to work on are the goals that we're working on, right? So we make sure that the parent agrees with the treatment plan goals and that the family and counselor are kind of on the same page with what we want to be working on. Same thing for kiddo, right? They're also involved in that conversation. What are the things that you want to work on, that your mom wants you to work on, that we think you need to work on? And how are we kind of incorporating all of those into a treatment plan that is on the road to a successful graduation? Um, we do offer services in several different languages. So we do offer English, Spanish, Arabic, Haitian Creole, Hebrew, and Russian. And our therapists do specialize or have advanced training in areas such as anxiety, depression, trauma. And again, I'm trained in trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy, as well as several of our clinicians. And all of our therapists get individually supervised. So that's something that I think sets NFS apart. Because we make sure that all of our clinicians are being supervised one-on-one for on a weekly basis. So we don't typically do group supervisions. Every therapist has the opportunity to staff their cases in a timely manner where they're able to get feedback and able to ensure that the child is making appropriate progress. So your kiddo, you can rest assured that they're in good hands.
Mariana, there's a question.
Sure.
Is everything that you are providing, the information you're providing about kids also apply to adults?
It does. Oh, that's a great question. It does. And I'm so sorry for mentioning kiddos so much. I love working with kiddos is my absolute favorite thing in the world. So I'm sorry I'm saying so many kiddos. Yes. So all of these things apply to adults now, with the exception of family consultations. So typically with adults, there's not as many family members to talk to for adults. So, but yes, we do provide case consultations, and they do have the opportunity to staff your case in supervision. So yes, everything applies to adults as well. Great question. Now getting started. So if this is something that you think you might be interested in, one, I want you to know that I am always available for contact. So my contact information will be on the next slide. But if you're interested in submitting a referral or getting started, you can send an email to telehealth@ne-family.com. And that will go straight to our administrative assistants who help support with putting in referrals and making sure that clients are getting appropriately assigned and getting started quickly. So if you send that in, you should expect to get a response within 24 hours. And they can support you in placing a referral if you need that support. And then within 48 hours, you would expect to hear from your counselor to go ahead and get started and get you scheduled at a time that works for you both.
Is there a backlog at all?
I'm sorry?
Is there a backlog, a waiting time?
So currently we do not have a wait list. So you can call us at 1-888-637-TELE or 8353, or you can visit us online as well. So I would like, if you're interested in services, if you want to go ahead and maybe take a screenshot of this screen, my contact information is listed there. Like I said, I'm the director of the program, and I am so happy to speak with anybody who has questions or support. I think where you trust an agency to get your treatment and get your kiddos treatment, it's a big deal. It's important. So if you ever need anything, I am reachable. I am not the program director who just sits behind their desk and doesn't want to talk to anybody. I'm always so happy for families to reach out if you need anything. And then our administrative assistant, her name is Samira. She does our referral processing. So when a referral comes in, she would likely be the one to process that referral and follow up with you to confirm that it was received and get the person assigned to the counselor that is the best fit. So we'll take a moment for some questions. I know I talk super fast, so I'm sorry. That was me going slow. So,
If you have a question, you can type it in the Q&A box on the bottom. Mariana, there's a question.
Mhm.
If there were times when you wanted to use telehealth and times when you wanted to meet a counselor in person, is that can that be provided?
If they want virtual, the question was if they want to be seen virtually and some in person, can that be provided?
Yes.
Yeah, so yes, that can be provided. It might the department might be a little bit different. So instead of being a client of our telehealth department, because our department is strictly virtual, but if they were looking to do in person and telehealth, then we could connect you with the correct department that does allow for the both. You can still follow the same processes for getting started.
Any other questions? All right, Mariana, maybe you can wrap it up.
All right. Thank you all so much for coming. It was great, well, talking to you all. So if you have any questions, like I said, please feel free. I'll go ahead and slide back to this slide if anybody wants to go ahead and grab that contact information or take a quick screenshot. And I'll toggle back to this one if anybody wants to get any last minute information off of here. And that is everything that I have for you all today. So you are welcome to exit when you're ready.
Thank you, everyone. Oh, there's a question, Mariana.
Sure.
Doctors, thank you so much for doing this. It was very informative and helpful.
I'm so glad. Thank you for coming.
All right, I'm going to end it now.
I'm good.
Thank you, Mariana.
Thank you.